Commander stood in the communications center, staring at the screen. The message had arrived 30 minutes ago. It was not friendly. Next to him, Diplomat read the words again, her face pale. "They want us to surrender," she said quietly. The message came from the Empire. They controlled 200 star systems across the galaxy. Humans had only been in space for 50 years. Earth had 12 colony worlds and 75 military ships. They had thousands. "What exactly do they want?" asked. Pointed to the list. "All outer colonies, mining rights to our asteroid belts, annual tribute of resources, and we must accept their governors on Earth." Felt anger rise in his chest. "They want to make us slaves." "They see us as primitive," explained. "We only got faster-than-light travel recently. To them, we are children playing with adult toys." The door opened. President entered with Admiral. The Admiral was old, with gray hair and sharp eyes. He had fought in the colony wars 20 years ago when Mars rebelled against Earth. Everyone knew his reputation. "Show me," said. They played the message again. A tall alien appeared on screen. Its skin was blue and smooth. 4 eyes blinked in sequence. When it spoke, the translator made its voice sound cold. "Humans of Earth, you have entered the greater galaxy. The Empire maintains order in this region. You will submit to our authority. Refuse, and we will cleanse your worlds. You have 1 Earth week to respond." The message ended. Silence filled the room. Finally spoke. "How many ships do they have in our space?" 300, answered. "All military. They arrived yesterday and positioned themselves near New Colony." Admiral walked to the star map. He studied the positions. His finger traced possible routes. "Interesting formation," he muttered. "What do you mean?" asked. "Look at how they arranged their fleet. It's perfect. Symmetrical, beautiful, even," smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "It's ceremonial. They expect us to see their strength and surrender. This is not a battle formation." The chief engineer spoke up from her workstation. "Admiral, I analyzed their ship movements. They fly in parade patterns, nothing random, no scouts, no irregular spacing." Nodded slowly. "They have never fought a real war." "That cannot be true," said. "They control 200 systems." "They control them because species surrender when they arrive," replied. "Look at their message. Submit or be cleansed. That is not strategy. That is a threat that has always worked before." President sat down. He looked tired. "Can we fight them? 75 ships against 300. "In a straight battle, no," admitted. "But I did not suggest a straight battle." "What are our options?" asked. Pulled up Earth's military records. "Sir, we have something they do not: experience. Real experience. Humans have been fighting wars for our entire history. We have had wars over land, resources, religion, politics, and sometimes just because we did not like each other. We have records of over 150,000 conflicts." "How does that help us now?" asked. "Because we know what war actually is," said. "War is not parades. It is not honor. War is doing whatever it takes to survive. It is ugly and brutal and unfair. I do not think they understand that." Felt a chill. He had studied human history, the world wars, the nuclear age, the climate conflicts. Humanity had almost destroyed itself multiple times. They had invented weapons so terrible that they banned them from use. They might have bigger ships, but did they have that kind of darkness in their past? "We need to decide," said. "Do we surrender or fight?" "If we surrender, we lose everything," said. "They do not share power. They rule. Our children will be second-class citizens in our own home." "If we fight, millions could die," countered. "Millions will suffer under rule," said. "Sir, I have seen the intelligence reports. Species under control have no freedom. They work. They obey. That is all. Is that what we want for humanity?" Stood and walked to the window. Outside, Earth continued its normal day. People went to work. Children went to school. None of them knew alien warships waited in their solar system. "I need to address the United Earth Council," said. "This decision is too big for one person." 3 days later, the council voted. It was not unanimous. Many wanted peace at any cost, but the majority voted to refuse the demands. Was there when they sent the response. It was simple. "Earth declines your offer. Leave our space immediately." The reply came within an hour. "You have chosen extinction. Our fleet moves in 24 hours. Prepare for cleansing." Admiral called all senior commanders to a meeting, attended as defense coordinator, was there to discuss ship modifications. The captain of the destroyer Indomitable joined via video link from Nu. "They will attack the colonies first," said. "Nu is closest to their fleet. How many ships can you gather?" 12, sir," answered. "All smaller vessels, nothing bigger than a destroyer." "Good, you will defend Nu." Looked surprised. "Sir, 12 against 300, that is suicide." Smile returned, that cold, dangerous smile. "Captain, I am not asking you to win. I am asking you to teach them a lesson." "What lesson, sir?" "That humans do not fight fair. We fight to win. Use every dirty trick we have ever invented. Ambush them, fake retreats, hide behind asteroids, ram them if you must. Make them bleed for every meter of space. Can you do that?" Was quiet for a moment, then he nodded. "Yes, sir, we can do that." "Excellent, the rest of the fleet will mobilize. We have advantages they do not expect. Our ships are smaller but faster. Our weapons are designed for actual combat, not for show. And most importantly, we are not afraid to fight ugly." Felt something strange. It was fear, yes, but also excitement. The thought they knew humanity. They thought humans were weak because they were new to space. They were about to learn differently. As the meeting ended, spoke one more time. "Remember this. They declared war on us, not the other way around. They chose this. Now they will learn what human war really means." Walked out into the corridor. Through the windows he could see stars. Somewhere out there, 300 alien warships prepared to attack, and somewhere else, 75 human ships prepared to show them that size was not everything. They had made a mistake. They declared war on the wrong species. Soon they would understand. The fleet moved toward Nu like a beautiful wave. Their ships gleamed silver in the starlight. They flew in perfect formation, 300 strong, expecting an easy victory. Captain watched them approach from his command chair on the Indomitable. Around him, his crew worked quietly. They were scared. Who would not be scared? 12 ships against 300, but they trusted their captain. "How long until they reach the colony?" asked. 2 hours, his navigator answered. Studied the tactical display. The flew in neat rows like they were in a parade. Admiral was right. These aliens had never fought a real battle. "Split the fleet," ordered. 3 groups of 4 ships each. Alpha group hides behind the moon. Beta group stays near the asteroid field. Gamma group with me. We stay dark. No engines, no signals, just drift like debris. "Sir, should we not face them directly?" his weapons officer asked. "Show them we are not afraid." "That is exactly what they expect," said. "And that is why we will not do it. Send the message to all ships. Complete radio silence from now on. Tight beam laser communication only." The human ships scattered. The fleet continued forward, confident and proud. 1 hour later, they reached Nu. The colony had 40,000 people. Most had evacuated to underground shelters. They sent a message to the colony. "Surrender now, accept rule. You have 10 minutes." Sent a tight beam to the colony governor. "Do not respond. Let them wonder." 10 minutes passed. They grew impatient. Their lead ship powered up its weapons. It was massive, 5 times bigger than any human destroyer. One shot could destroy a city. Then gave his order. "Alpha group attack now, full speed, all weapons." 4 human ships roared out from behind the moon. Their missiles launched in a swarm. 50 missiles streaked toward the formation. The ships turned to face this threat. Their formation shifted, elegant and precise. Their defensive guns shot down most of the missiles. Only 3 hit, damaging 1 cruiser. The commander must have felt satisfied. The humans attacked and barely scratched them. Now they would show their power. But the missile attack was not meant to destroy. It was meant to distract. While the focused on Alpha Group, Beta Group moved. They flew out of the asteroid field at full speed, approaching from the side. Their target was not the warships. It was the supply ships at the back of the formation. 4 human destroyers hit 6 supply vessels before the aliens understood what was happening. Without shields or weapons, the supply ships exploded. Food, ammunition, and fuel scattered into space. Gamma Group attack from below, ordered. The Indomitable and 3 other ships had been drifting, engines cold, pretending to be dead hulks. Now they powered up directly underneath the fleet. At close range, they fired everything. The formation broke. Ships scattered, trying to target enemies coming from 3 directions. They had never trained for this. Their battle plans assumed enemies would face them honorably. Saw a battleship turning toward him. Its weapons were charging. The Indomitable could not survive a direct hit. Full speed straight at them, ordered. Sir, his pilot asked, shocked. Do it now. The Indomitable accelerated directly toward the battleship. The ship held position, confident its weapons would fire first, but counted on something. He counted on them hesitating. At the last moment, the battleship tried to turn away. It could not believe the human ship would actually ram them. That hesitation cost them. The Indomitable fired every weapon at point-blank range as it passed underneath the battleship's hull. Explosions tore through the alien ship's belly. The Indomitable took damage too, but it survived. The battle lasted 4 hours. The humans used every trick. They hid behind asteroids. They faked damage and played dead, then attacked when ships came close. They targeted engines and weapons, not the armored hull. When outnumbered, they ran, leading enemy ships into ambushes. 1 human destroyer, the Phoenix, took critical damage. Its captain, knowing the ship was lost, aimed at a cruiser and set the engines to overload. The crew evacuated in escape pods. The Phoenix crashed into the cruiser at full speed. Both ships were destroyed. They had never seen anything like this. Their transmissions, intercepted by communications officer Sumi on the Indomitable, showed their shock. They fight without honor. They attack from hiding. They ram ships, they are demons. Finally, the commander had enough. His fleet had lost 47 ships. The humans lost 8, but they had fought like nothing they had ever encountered. The fleet retreated. Sat in his damaged chair, breathing hard. His ship was barely functional. Half his fleet was gone, but they had won. 12 ships had forced 300 to retreat. Sumi brought him the intercepted communications. Sir, you need to hear this. She played a message between the commander and his home world. The translation makes blood run cold. These humans are not civilized. They do not follow the rules of war. They hide and ambush. They destroy themselves to hurt us. We need more ships, many more ships. The response from the home world was harsh. You had 300 ships against 12. 12. How did you lose? They do not fight like anyone else. Our intelligence was wrong. Humans have fought over 150,000 wars among themselves. They have been killing each other for their entire history. They know every dirty trick, every cruel tactic. We expected a primitive species. We found predators. Turned off the recording, he looked at his crew. They were exhausted, injured, scared, but they were alive. Send a message to Admiral, said. New holds, enemy retreated. We are ready for the next battle. Back on Earth, Admiral received the news. He stood in the command center with commander and engineer. The battle data from New played on multiple screens. 47 enemy ships destroyed, said, amazed. They retreated. They will be back, said. This was just the first battle. They will send more ships, but now they are afraid. Good. Fear makes people make mistakes. Pulled up production reports. Sir, I can increase ship production. If we convert civilian shipyards, we can triple our output. Do it, ordered. We need every ship we can build. Looked worried. Sir, the Empire is huge. They can send thousands of ships. Even if we fight well, they can overwhelm us with numbers. Nodded, you are right. In a long war they will win, so we will not fight a long war. What do you mean? Captain taught them that we fight differently. Now we teach them that we think differently too. They expect us to defend our colonies, to hold our ground. That is not what we will do. Then what? Asked. Smiled his dangerous smile. We will attack them, not their fleets, their homes, their colonies, their supply bases. We will take this war to their territory. Let them defend everything while we attack anywhere we choose. Felt that chill again. Was not planning a defense. He was planning an invasion. Sir, we do not have enough ships for that, protested. We will, and we have something better than ships. We have human creativity, human stubbornness, and human anger. They threatened our families, our children. They told us to surrender or die. They declared war on the wrong species, Commander. Now we show them what that means. News of the Battle of Nu spread through human space. People who wanted to surrender changed their minds. If 12 ships could beat 300, maybe humanity had a chance. The Empire also heard about the battle. Some of their leaders said it was a fluke. One lucky battle meant nothing, but others were not so sure. They had the reports. They had watched the recordings. They had seen how humans fought. And deep down, some began to fear they had made a terrible mistake. Bora had worked at the civilian shipyard for 15 years. She built cargo ships, passenger liners, and mining vessels. The work was steady and peaceful. Then the war started. Now she stood in the same shipyard, but everything had changed. The factory floor buzzed with activity. 3 shifts worked around the clock. The production lines that once made cargo haulers now built warships. How many this week? President asked. He had come to inspect the progress. 42 destroyers, Bora answered. Next week we should hit 50. Looked amazed. Before the war, this facility built 5 ships per month. Before the war, we worked 8 hours per day and took weekends off, Bora said. Now we work in shifts, round the clock. We also the designs. No luxury, no comfort, just armor, weapons, and engines. All across Earth and its colonies, the same thing was happening. Every factory that could build ships now built warships. Car factories made missile parts. Electronics companies made targeting computers. Food processing plants made military rations. They thought Earth's economy was running at full capacity. They were wrong. Humans had built their economy on competition and efficiency. During peacetime, it ran at 30% capacity. Now, with survival at stake, humanity's industrial machine roared to life. In a secret facility on Mars, scientists worked on something different. He stood in a laboratory surrounded by armed guards. President had given him access to weapons humanity had banned. Show me, Admiral said. He had come to see what had prepared. Pulled up a hologram. This is a kinetic impactor. We call it a planet cracker. You accelerate a solid tungsten rod to 90% light speed and aim it at a planet. The impact releases energy equivalent to 100 nuclear bombs. We banned these after the Mars Rebellion, said. Yes, too destructive, but they do not know we have them. Move to the next display. This is an AI-guided drone swarm. Each drone is small, cheap, and carries enough explosive to destroy a ship. Release 10,000 of them. The AI coordinates their attack. No defense can stop them all. We banned AI weapons 70 years ago, noted. After they almost killed us all, yes, agreed. But they are very effective. And this, he hesitated. This is a biological agent, targets DNA specifically. We created it using samples from the new battle. Release it on a world and in 3 weeks 90% of the population will be dead. Was quiet for a long moment. That is evil. Yes, said. We banned it after the bio-wars. Over 2 billion people died. But sir, they want to exterminate us. Should we not use every weapon we have? Not yet, decided. We keep these as a final option. If we face extinction, then we use them. But we do not become monsters unless we must. 2 weeks after the Battle of Nu, Admiral launched Operation Boomerang. Instead of defending human colonies, he sent the entire Earth fleet deep into space. Captain, promoted after his victory, led the attack. His orders were simple: cause chaos. The human fleet divided into 20 small groups. Each group had 3 or 4 ships. They did not attack military targets. They attacked everything else. This group hit a fuel depot. They destroyed it and left before reinforcements arrived. 2 days later, they attacked a communication relay, then a mining station, then a trade hub. The fleet rushed to defend their territory, but they could not be everywhere. Every time they arrived, the humans were already gone. It was like fighting ghosts. Pilot flew a stealth fighter as part of the operation. His mission was reconnaissance, but he found something better: a military shipyard with minimal defenses. They had pulled most ships to the front lines. Sent coordinates to, "Sir, I found a target." Looked at the data. The shipyard was building 12 new battleships. It was deep in space, 4 days from any major fleet. Destroying it would hurt production for months. "How did you get so close without being detected?" asked. "I used their own IFF codes," explained. "We captured a shuttle at Nu, its identification signal. Their sensors think I am one of their own ships." Grinned, "Excellent work. Send the codes to all ships. We are going in." Using the stolen codes, the group approached the shipyard. The defenders never suspected anything. Why would they? The IFF said these were friendly ships. When ships opened fire at close range, the shipyard had no time to react. Explosions tore through the construction docks. The 12 battleships, still incomplete, broke apart. Thousands of workers died. It was brutal, it was ruthless, it was war. The attack shocked the Empire. A shipyard deep in their own space, destroyed. Their fleet was chasing human ships on the border while their home territory burned. In the capital, the High Council met. They watched reports from across their empire. Human ships were everywhere, attacking anything valuable. Trade had stopped. Colonies demanded protection. Fear spread. "How is this possible?" one council member demanded. "We have thousands of ships. They have less than 300. "They do not fight like we do," another answered. "They do not follow rules. They attack the weak, hide from the strong, and run when outnumbered. This is not civilized warfare." Intelligence officer, working from a captured computer system, discovered something important. She brought the information directly to Admiral. "Sir, I analyzed biology and history. They evolved as apex predators. No natural enemies. They reached the top of their food chain early and stayed there. Their entire culture is based on dominance through strength. So they show up, flex their muscles, and everyone surrenders," said. "Exactly, but it is more than that. They have never experienced an existential threat, never faced extinction, never had to fight for survival. War for them is a ritual, a display of power." Understood. But for humans, war is survival. We have been one bad winter, one drought, one disease away from extinction for our entire history. We know how to fight when everything is at stake. "Yes, sir. And there is something else. Have slower reflexes than humans. They are stronger and more durable, but we think faster and adapt quicker. In a long-range fleet battle, that does not matter. In close combat, it is everything." This explained why human tactics worked so well. The expected formal battles. Fleets facing each other at a distance, trading fire until one side retreated. But humans fought up close, fast, and dirty, where their quick thinking gave them an advantage. 3 months into the war, the situation was clear. They had lost 70% of their fleet. They still had more ships than Earth, but they were scattered, defending thousands of targets. Meanwhile, human production increased every week. New ships, new weapons, new tactics. They tried to adapt. They changed their formations. They set ambushes. They tried dirty tricks of their own. But they were learning from scratch while humans had thousands of years of practice. In one battle, a commander's ram attacked. His ship charged at a human destroyer, but the human captain simply dodged. The ship was too slow to adjust. It flew past harmlessly while human missiles struck its unshielded rear. They were trying to think like humans, but thinking like a human required thousands of years of evolution and culture built on conflict. They could not learn it in a few months. General Sung, commander of the Marine Corps, proposed something even bolder. He stood before President with a plan. "We can win this war quickly," Sung said, "but we need to do something extreme." "What are you proposing?" asked. "We start terraforming colony worlds, right now, while the war is still happening." The room went silent. Diplomat spoke first. That would be seen as a promise to exterminate them. "Yes," Sung agreed. "That is exactly how they should see it. We show them we are not just defending. We are preparing to take their worlds and make them ours. We are ready to erase them completely." "Is that not too far?" asked. Shook his head. "Sir, it is psychological warfare. We do not actually have to kill them all. We just need them to believe we will. Right now, they think they can still win. If we show them we are ready to replace them entirely, they will understand this is not a war they can win. It is a war for survival, their survival." Struggled with the decision. It was cruel, it was terrifying, but they had started this war. They threatened to cleanse humanity. They asked for this. "Do it," ordered, "but only on uninhabited worlds. I will not kill civilians." General Sung smiled. "That is all we need, sir. The threat is enough." 1 week later, human terraforming ships arrived at 3 colony worlds. These were frontier worlds with small populations. The humans did not attack the colonies. They just started changing the atmosphere, the temperature, the environment, making them suitable for human life. The message was clear: we are moving in, with or without you. They watched in horror as their worlds transformed. This was beyond war. This was replacement. The humans were not just fighting them. They were preparing to take their place in the galaxy. Fear turned to panic. The High Council faced a choice: continue fighting a species that seemed willing to exterminate them, or surrender. After 4,000 years of dominance, the Empire prepared to do something they had never done before. They prepared to lose. The Galactic Assembly met in emergency session. Representatives from 40 different species gathered to discuss the war between humans and the... Most had never heard of humans before 6 months ago. Now they watched in shock as a species less than a century old in space destroyed an empire that had stood for 4,000 years. Ambassador represented Earth. She was young for a diplomat, only 35, but she had studied every species in the assembly. She knew their cultures, their fears, their weaknesses. She walked into the chamber ready for anything. The assembly speaker, a tall being from the collective, addressed her directly. "Ambassador, your species has brought war to a peaceful region of space." "With respect, Speaker, they brought war to us," replied calmly. "They demanded our surrender. When we refused, they attacked our colonies. We are defending ourselves." "Defending?" a reptilian delegate from the hegemony hissed. "You have attacked core worlds. You have destroyed their shipyards. You are terraforming their colonies. This is not defense. This is conquest." Did not flinch. They declared they would cleanse us, complete extermination. We responded proportionally. If they wanted a limited conflict, they should not have threatened genocide. "Proportionally," the speaker sounded shocked. "You have destroyed 70% of their fleet in 6 months." They started with 5 times our numbers, countered. If we did not fight aggressively, we would be dead. Would you prefer we let them exterminate us? Murmurs spread through the assembly. Many species had submitted to demands over the centuries. They gave up resources, accepted governors, paid tribute. It was easier than fighting, but humans refused to submit. The question was why? An elderly delegate from the Wise Ones, a species that had been spacefaring for 20,000 years, spoke. We have reviewed human history. Your species is unusual. Tell me, Ambassador, is it true that humans have fought over 150,000 wars among yourselves? That number is accurate, confirmed. And you invented nuclear weapons and used them on your own people. Yes, twice. And we came close to destroying our entire species with them many more times. Shocked silence filled the chamber. The delegate continued. You survived environmental collapse. You survived plague. You survived ice ages. Your own history shows at least 3 separate occasions where your species nearly went extinct, yet you survived each time. We are good at surviving, said simply. That is what frightens us, the delegate admitted. They are predators, strong, dominant, confident, but you are survivors. You have evolved to endure, to outlast, to do whatever it takes to live. That is far more dangerous. Another delegate from a peaceful herbivore species spoke up. But surely there must be limits. You have weapons you have not used, biological weapons, planet destroyers. Why create such terrible things? Took a breath. Honesty was important here. We created those weapons during our worst periods, times when we fought each other with everything we had. We banned them because they are too terrible to use, but we keep them just in case. In case of what? The delegate asked. In case someone threatens to exterminate us, said. They made that threat, so we prepared everything, every terrible weapon we have ever made. We prefer not to use them, but we will if we must. The assembly understood. Humans were not bluffing. They really would destroy entire worlds if pushed far enough. This was not bravado. It was a simple statement of fact. The representative, looking defeated, spoke. We wish to negotiate peace terms. Then speak to Ambassador, the speaker said. This is your war. Settle it between you. 2 days later, met with the High Council. They met on a neutral station. Both sides brought guards, but the meeting was civil. The chief negotiator was old by their standards. His blue skin had faded to almost white. His 4 eyes looked tired. We underestimated you, he said simply. Yes, agreed. We believed you were primitive, new to space, weak. You were wrong. They nodded. We have decided to surrender. We ask for terms. Pulled out a data pad. President has authorized me to offer the following. Full withdrawal from human space. No tribute, no governors, no demands. You leave us alone. That is reasonable, the negotiator said, surprised. I am not finished, continued. All colonies within 50 light-years of human space will be demilitarized. We will inspect them. Fleet numbers will be limited to 500 ships total. We will monitor your shipyards. The negotiator looked pained. You are dictating surrender terms to us. You declared war, reminded him. You threatened extermination. Did you expect a gentle peace? We expected mutual agreement, compromise. Leaned forward. Let me be very clear. These are President's merciful terms. Admiral wanted unconditional surrender. General Sung wanted to occupy your. Scientist wanted to demonstrate our biological weapons to encourage your compliance. The only reason you get these terms is because our leaders prefer peace to more killing. And if we refuse, the negotiator asked. His voice went cold. Then we continue the war. We will not stop until your species no longer has the capacity to threaten us. That might mean complete occupation. It might mean worse. You chose war with a species that has nearly made itself extinct 3 times. We know how to fight existential wars. We have practice. Do you? The negotiator sat back. He looked at his fellow council members. They all knew the truth. They could not win this war. Human production was still increasing. New weapons appeared every week. Human tactics improved with each battle. Meanwhile, losses mounted. "We accept your terms," the negotiator said quietly. "Wise choice," replied. The peace treaty was signed 1 week later. The empire, which had controlled 200 systems, was reduced to half its size. Demilitarized zones were established. Human observers were stationed in territory. It was not an equal peace. It was a victor's peace. But kept his word. No biological weapons were used. No planets were destroyed. Human forces from territory. Once compliance was, the war was over. News of the peace spread across the galaxy. But it was not the peace that other species remembered. It was how humans fought the war. In the years following the war, the galaxy changed. Species that once expanded aggressively became cautious. 3 separate alien empires abandoned their invasion plans after studying the human war. The hegemony had been preparing to conquer the collective. After watching how humans fought, they sent a peace treaty instead. A pirate coalition that had terrorized trade routes for decades disbanded. Their leader reportedly said, "We steal cargo, not suicide missions. Stay away from human space." Even the wise ones who had seen 20,000 years of galactic history admitted they were disturbed. One of their historians wrote, "We have encountered aggressive species before. We have seen warriors, but humans are different. They do not fight for glory or territory. They fight for survival, and a species that fights for survival has no limits." The survivors told stories to anyone who would listen. Warnings, really. "Never fight humans," one veteran said. "They do not care about honor. They will hide, ambush, and run. They will sacrifice their own ships to destroy yours. They will fight dirty and call it tactics." Another added, "They keep weapons in museums, terrible weapons that could destroy worlds, but they do not throw them away. They remember. They preserve. They call it history. I call it a promise. A promise that if you threaten them, they will use everything they have ever created." A philosopher wrote an essay that became famous across the galaxy. "We thought humans were weak because they were new to space. We did not understand that space travel is easy. It is math and engineering. But surviving for 200,000 years on a dangerous planet, fighting predators and disease and each other, that is hard. That creates something far more dangerous than technology. It creates will, unbreakable will to survive." Captain, now an admiral, gave a lecture at the Earth Naval Academy. Young officers filled the auditorium. They wanted to hear from the hero of new. "Why did we win?" asked them. "We had fewer ships, worse technology at the start, no allies, so why did we win?" A cadet raised her hand. "Because we fought smarter, sir." "Yes, but why could we fight smarter?" Another cadet answered, "Because we have more experience with war." "Exactly," said. "They had bigger ships, but we had something better. We had history, thousands of years of humans fighting humans. We learned every lesson the hard way. We know what works and what does not. That knowledge won the war." He pulled up an image of Earth from space. "Look at our, beautiful, but it tried to kill us for ice ages, droughts, predators, disease. We survived all of it. We learned to adapt, to endure, to fight when necessary. They never had to do that. Their world was kind. They evolved without real threats. When they met a real threat, they did not know how to respond." The cadets listened carefully, continued, "Remember this. We did not start this war, but we finished it. That is what humans do. We finish what others start. Never forget that." In the Galactic Assembly, the balance of power shifted. Humans were no longer ignored. When Ambassador spoke, people listened. Earth had proven itself, not through peaceful diplomacy, but through war. 1 year after the war ended, Earth was different. The shipyards still hummed with activity. The factories still produced weapons. The military had not shrunk. If anything, it had grown. Admiral stood in the Strategic Command Center, watching reports from across human space. 50 new defense pacts, military bases on 30 worlds, a fleet of over 800 ships and more being built every month. "Sir, the Galactic Assembly is requesting another meeting," Commander said. "They want to discuss our military expansion." "Let them talk," replied. "Actions matter more than words." The truth was simple. Earth had not started the war, but the war had changed everything. Before, humans were newcomers to the galaxy, mostly ignored. Now they were feared, and fear knew was the best defense. President had a different concern. He met with Ambassador in his office. "We won the war, but I worry about the peace. We are building an empire without calling it an empire." "We are building security," corrected. 50 species have asked for defense pacts. They saw what happened to they want human protection. "Or they are afraid we will do to them what we did to said. "Is there a difference?" asked. "Fear and respect often look the same. The important thing is that no one will threaten us again." Looked at the star map on his wall. Human influence spread across a huge region now, not through conquest but through deterrence. No species wanted to risk fighting humans. It was easier to sign a treaty. In a small office on Mars, Engineer designed the next generation of warships. She had access to unlimited resources now. Every improvement she suggested was approved. Every new weapon system was funded. Her assistant, a young engineer named, looked troubled. "Director, do we really need all these weapons? The war is over." "This war is over," corrected. "But there will be others. The galaxy knows about us now. They know we exist. They know we are dangerous. That will keep us safe for a while. But eventually someone will test us again. We must be ready." "Will we always be at war?" asked. "Thought about that. Humans have been fighting for 200,000 years. It is what we know. Peace is nice, but we are better at war. Maybe that is our gift to the galaxy. We are the ones who can fight the fights others cannot." On Nu, the colony had been rebuilt. Captain, now Admiral, visited the memorial to the soldiers who died defending it. Their names were carved in stone. 317 names. Not many compared to the losses, but each one mattered. A young approached him. This surprised. Not many came to human space anymore. "Admiral," the said, speaking perfect English. I fought against you at Nu. Studied the alien. You survived." "Yes, barely. I watched your tactics. I saw what you did. It was," struggled for the word, "horrifying. We were told humans were primitive, but you fought like nightmares." "We fought like survivors," said. "Yes, I have spent the year studying human history. Your wars, your conflicts, I understand now. You are not evil. You are just very, very good at fighting. It is what you do." "What brings you here?" asked. "I wrote a book," said, "about the war, about human tactics and strategy. It is being read by every military academy in the galaxy. I came to give you a copy." Took the book. The title was simple, "Never Fight Humans." "Accurate title," said with a slight smile. "I wanted to warn the galaxy," explained. "Not to hate you, but to understand you, to know that starting a war with humans is suicide. I hope it prevents future conflicts." "So do I," said honestly. "We do not enjoy killing, but we are good at it when we must be." In the Galactic Assembly, a new session began. More species had joined after the war. The galaxy was reorganizing around new realities. The speaker addressed the chamber. "We have a proposal from the Terran Federation. They wish to establish a joint defense force, multiple species contributing ships to a combined fleet." This caused immediate discussion. A combined fleet meant cooperation, but it also meant human leadership. Everyone knew humans would dominate such a force. Ambassador stood to speak. "The proposal is simple. Threats exist in this galaxy. Pirates, warlords, aggressive empires. Instead of each species defending themselves, we combine our strength, share technology, coordinate defense." And who commands this fleet? The representative asked. Initially, Earth would provide the command structure, admitted. We have the most combat experience, but other species would have equal representation in strategic decisions. Why should we trust you? A delegate challenged. You destroyed the attacked us, said firmly. We have not started a single conflict, but we have finished every one. That is exactly why you should trust us. We fight when we must, not because we want to. The debate lasted for hours. Finally, the vote came. 35 species voted yes, 8 voted no, the rest abstained. It was enough. The Terran Federation Defense Force was born. Human officers began training alien crews. Human tactics were taught in multinational academies. Human weapons were shared with allies. Some species worried this was human imperialism, but others saw it differently. Humans were the guard dogs of the galaxy. Dangerous, yes, but pointed at external threats, not internal ones. 2 years after the war, General Sung retired. He gave his final speech at Earth Military Headquarters. Hundreds of officers attended. We won the war, Sung said. But winning is easy, maintaining peace is hard. We must never forget what we learned. Strength prevents war, weakness invites it. We must stay strong, stay vigilant, stay ready. He paused. But we must also stay human. We fought to protect our families, our freedom, our future. Do not become what we fought against. Stay honorable in victory. Stay merciful when you can. But stay dangerous always. The officers applauded. Sung had led the Marines through the worst battles. His words carried weight. After the speech, young Lieutenant Minyu approached him. Sir, do you think we will have to fight again? Absolutely, Sung said without hesitation. There are aggressive species in this galaxy. Eventually one will test us, or a new threat will emerge. We will fight again. Are you afraid? Minyu asked. Sung smiled. No, because next time they will know what they are facing. They had an excuse. They did not know, but now everyone knows. Starting a war with humans is suicide. That knowledge is our greatest weapon. In a quiet office on Earth, Diplomat reviewed intelligence reports. She had left the Foreign Service to work in intelligence. Her job now was to watch for threats before they became wars. One report caught her attention. A distant empire called the Dominion was expanding aggressively. They had conquered 6 species in the past decade. Intelligence suggested they might be looking toward human space. Wrote a memo to President. We need to send a message to a clear warning, show them what happened to make them understand the cost of threatening us. Approved the message. Ambassador delivered it personally to the capital. The message was simple. We do not seek conflict, but we do not fear it either. Study what happened to the Empire. They threatened us. Now they are a shadow of their former selves. We prefer peace, but if you choose war, we will ensure you regret it. They studied Earth's history. They watched recordings of the war. They read's book. They calculated the cost of fighting humans. 1 month later, they sent a reply. We seek peaceful relations with the Terran Federation. We have no hostile intentions toward human space. The threat was neutralized without a shot fired. This, realized, was the new reality. Earth's reputation did the work. Deterrence was working. But he wondered how long it would last. Captain, now teaching at the Naval Academy, often thought about the war. He taught the tactics he had used, the ambushes, the ramming attacks, the refusal to fight fair. His students listened eagerly. One student asked, Sir, do you regret what we did, the way we fought? Considered the question carefully. I regret the deaths, both theirs and ours, but I do not regret fighting to survive. They gave us a choice, surrender or die. We chose to live. That meant fighting with everything we had. I am not sorry for that. But we broke the rules of war, another student said. There are no rules in survival, replied. Only outcomes. We survived. They did not exterminate us. That is the only outcome that matters. He looked at the young faces before him. Remember this. We are not the strongest species. We are not the most advanced, but we are the most stubborn. We endure, we adapt, we survive. That is what makes us dangerous. On Earth, in a small apartment, Bora watched the news. The shipyard where she worked had finally reduced its military production. They were building civilian ships again, trading vessels, colony ships, exploration craft. The war economy was ending. Slowly, carefully, life was returning to normal. But Bora knew it was not the same normal as before. Earth had changed. Humanity had changed. They had proven they could fight. Now they had to prove they could build peace. In the Galactic Assembly, an elder from the Wise Ones gave a speech that would be remembered for generations. For 10,000 years, we wondered if we were alone in the universe. Then we found others. We were relieved. We were excited. We built this assembly to bring peace and cooperation. The elder paused. Then we found the humans, and we learned something terrifying. We were not alone, but we were lucky. We found the humans after they stopped fighting each other. Imagine if we had found them before. Imagine if they had brought their wars to space while they were still divided. Silence filled the chamber. The humans nearly destroyed themselves 3 times. Nuclear war, environmental collapse, biological weapons. Each time they survived by the smallest margin. Now they are united. Now they are in space. Now they are our neighbors. The elder looked around. We have 2 choices. We can fear them or we can befriend them. But we cannot fight them. Learn that, never forget it. Ambassador stood and spoke. We do not want to be feared. We want to be partners. We want to explore, to trade, to learn. But we will not be threatened. We will not surrender. If forced to choose between peace and survival, we will always choose survival. That is not a threat. That is simply who we are. The assembly understood. Earth was offering partnership, but with a clear warning. Work with us or leave us alone, but never threaten us. It was not perfect peace, but it was stable, and after a war that almost became genocide, stable was enough. Admiral stood on a balcony, looking at Earth. Cities glowed in the darkness. Billions of people lived their lives, mostly unaware of how close they had come to extermination. Commander joined him. Do you think the peace will last, sir? For a while, said. We bought time, maybe a generation, maybe more. But eventually someone will test us again. It is the nature of the galaxy. And we will be ready. We will always be ready, confirmed. That is the price of survival, constant vigilance, constant preparation, the declared war on the wrong species. We made sure the galaxy understood that. Now we maintain that understanding. He turned to. We did not ask to be the galaxy's warriors, but that is what we became. The species others fear. The species others call when they need protection. It is not a comfortable role, but it is ours now. In the end, the war changed everything and nothing. Humans were still humans, still ambitious, still curious, still hopeful, but now they were also respected. Feared, yes, but respected. And in a dangerous galaxy, that might be the greatest victory of all. They had declared war on the wrong species. They learned, the galaxy watched, and humanity moved forward stronger and more united than ever before, knowing that their survival depended on one simple truth. Never again would they be seen as weak. Never again would they be threatened with extinction. They had fought for their place in the galaxy. Now they would defend it, forever.